All right, so welcome back once again to our live session today. I see some of you joining the stream. You are welcome back to this live session. If today is your first time on joining on this channel, please do well to like the video and then share it out so that others can join in us in that way. So welcome back once again to our live session. Please do well to share, like the video, and then so that others can join us in that case. So thank you for joining us in our today's live session today. So today I want to look at the part discussion on revision exercise on overview and nature of business mathematics with business word applications. That's what we're going to look out for in today's word video. So do well to share the video and like it as well. And then if you have any question or comment, you can put in the comment section whilst I'll be reading now for you so that we'll get to know what is ahead of us. So thank you for joining in today. So let me share my screen so that we get started. So these are the following questions that we're going to look at concerning the overview and nature of business mathematics with business applications. So these are the underlying reported subject areas we want to test on. That is fractions, decimals, percentage, exponent equations, algebraic, that's algebraic equations, and then word problem in that line. So do well to like, I see some of you joining the stream, do well to like the video and then share it out as well in that case. So let's get started as we get it done. So this happens to be our first question. We are asked to multiply 0.06 by 0.021. So let's see how we undertake this operation. So we are asked to multiply this. So I'll create my board here. So by multiplication, meaning that we are multiplying this, is going to be what? 0.06 multiplying what? 0.021. And what are we getting? With the help of our calculator, we should be able to arrive at 0.00126. And that's going to give us option. Let's see, option C in that line. So you're going to get option C and then you circle it. Then you are good to what? Go. Right. So let's take note of that. So that's by multiplication. Just multiply the two numbers. With the help of your calculator, you get it done. Then question 2. We are asked to divide 4.2 by 0.7. So this one, to follow the same trend, 4.2 divided by 0.07. And what are we getting? This one, with the help of a calculator, you should be able to get it done. And you should be able to arrive at total of what? 60. That should be 60. If you can confirm as well with your calculator so that we see if that is true. 60. And that's going to give you what? Option what? B. Option B. You circle it. If it's a multiple choice, you circle it and you are good to go. Or you provided with a scannable sheet, you shared it so that you get it done. Now let's move on to question number 3. We are asked to simplify this. 9 minus 3 into bracket 2 plus 6 divided by 6 minus 2 multiplying what? 5. Minus 2 multiplying 5. This is how we need to go about this. So first of all, here you are thinking about what? Board mass. We are thinking about board mass. So our board mass become the fundamental formula or format we are going to use in this line. So first of all, we think about bracket what first. So let me have the whole expression repeated here. So that's going to be 9 minus 3 into bracket 2 plus what? 6 bracket close divided by 6 minus 2 multiplying what? 5 minus 2 multiplying 5. So let's see. So bracket first. So that becomes what? 9 minus 3 into bracket. So we have 2 plus what? 6. So 2 plus is going to fetch us what? That is 8. Right. Divided by 6 minus 2 multiplying what? 5. So after the bracket, the next is to talk about the off. Do you see any off here? No, we don't see any off. So we move on straight away to talk about what? Division. So before that, we have our 9. So here, let's actually multiply straight up. So 9 3 multiplying 8, we are getting what? 24, right? Divided by 6. You can also multiply -2 by 5, and we are getting what? Negative what? 10. So after the of, move on to division. So meaning that here we are dividing what? 24 by what? 6. And what are we getting? Let's see. So we have 9. So 24 divided by 6, we are getting what? Negative what? 4. Right? We also have negative 10 here. So at the end of the day, it becomes 9 minus 4 minus 10. So the next is to talk about, we don't have any multiplication here. Likewise, we don't have addition. So we'll deal with what? The subtraction. So we subtract 9 minus 4 minus 10. And we are getting what? Negative what? 5. Somebody can confirm if that is true. Because 9 minus 4 minus 4 is going to fetch us minus 14. Okay. And then when you subtract minus 14 from 9, you should be able to get what? Negative 5. So that's going to give us option what? D. And then we are good to go. I see some of you guys joining the stream. Please do well to like the video and then share so that we get more engaged on this channel as well. Thank you for joining in today's section. Now let's move on to question number 4. The decimal equivalent of 9 over 4 is? The decimal equivalent of 9 over 4 is? So let's see. So yeah, talking about decimal equivalent. So meaning that all I want to do here is simple. We have our 9 over 4. We are asked to just convert this fraction to what? A decimal. So you just take your calculator, you punch 9 over 4. What are you supposed to get? With my case, I arrive at a figure of, let's see, that's question 4. I had a figure of 0.225. I have a figure of 0.225. You can confirm as well from so that we see. And that's going to be option what? That is option C. That is option C. And then we are done. Then question 5. We are asked to express 0.275 as a common fraction in a lowest word term. In its lowest word term. So we are asked to express the decimal, right, which is 0.275 as a common fraction in its lowest or in its simplest word form. So how you go by this one, too? You have 0.275. So you first of all need to express the decimal into what? A fraction. So that's going to give us 275. Remember, we are moving in what? In groups of 3. I mean, in rows of 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we are getting what? 275. So how many zeros are we counting here? We are counting 3 zeros. So that becomes what? Divided by what? 1,000. Divided by 1,000. And what are we getting? So once you're able to get a fraction like this, you take your calculator, you point 275 out of 1,000. What are we getting in its simplest what? Fraction form. With my case, I had a figure of 11 over what? 40, sorry. I have 11 over 40. I had 11 over 40. So you can also confirm as so that we'll see if that is also true. Now let's move on to question number 6. Express 2 over 5 as a percentage. Express 2 over 5 as a percentage. So how do you express 2 over 5 as a percentage? So straight up, we'll say that 2 over 5, in expressing a fraction as a percentage, you just multiply the fraction by what? 100. You multiply the fraction by what? 100. So we have 2 over 5 multiplying what? 100. And what are we getting here too? 5 can go to itself, 1 can go to 100 how many times? 20, right? So 2 multiplying 20, what are we getting? We are getting what? 40%. We are getting 40%. And then we are good to go. So do you see any 40% here? No. So meaning that you can go for what? None of these. None of these. None of these. And that's going to be for option what? E. None of these. None of these. So let's take note of that. Now let's move on to question number 7. Question 7 is saying that 60% of $10.6 is, that is actually what the question is saying. What is 60% of 10.6? That's what we are looking at. So here it's just percentage multiplying what? 60 point what? 10.60, sorry, $10.60. Is that okay? So straight up, we tell us that here 60 percentage can also be expressed as what? A fraction. So 60 out of what? 100 multiplying what? 10 point what? 60, right? 10.60. And what are we getting? What are we getting here? So when you apply 60 over 100 multiply 10.60, you should be able to arrive at, let's see, with my case, question 7, I had $6.36. I had 6.36 what? Dollars. And that goes for option what? B. That's go for. So here too, you can also as well convert it to decimal. Because 60% is the same thing as 0.6, and you multiply by what? 10.60. Then you are good to what? Go. I believe that is clear. All right, so that is for question number 7. Now let's talk about question number 8. It also says that 24 is what percentage of 40? 24 is what percentage of 40? So meaning that 24 was actually obtained by a percentage application of what? 40, for which we don't know the percentage application on the number 40. So we are asked to find that. So what are you going to do? You represent that percent that we don't know by what? A variable, right? So let's say variable what? X. So with an equational approach, we will say that 24 should be equal to, right? Say X percent, all right, multiplying what? 40, multiplying 40, X percent multiplying 40. But you know that percentage is out of what? 100, right? So we will say that here I can bring it further by saying that 24 should be equal to X out of 100 multiplying what? 40, multiplying 40. And what are we getting here? So here, all that we want to do here is to actually do our cross multiplication. Is that okay? So this is what we're going to do. We multiply the 100 by 24 and also multiply what? X by 40 by what? 1 here. And we solve for X. So here we are getting what? 24 multiplying 100, and that should be equal to 1 multiplying what? 40 what? X, right? Let me bring it a bit further here. So we are getting what? 2,400, and that should be equal to what? 40 what? X. That should be equal to 40x. So here we divide both sides by 40, we divide both sides by 40. And what are we getting as a percentage? With my case, I had X to be equal to what? 60%. I had X to be equal to 60%. That was my X. So meaning that actually 24 was as a result of what? 60% application on what? 40. And we are getting what? 24. So that's going to be option what? A. So let's take note of that. I see some of you guys joining the stream. You are welcome back. Please do want to like the video and share, so that if you haven't subscribed, today is your first time on this channel, please do want to subscribe to the channel so that on regular basis you can visit the channel to watch our content to get better concerning your academics and education. So thank you for joining us today. So let's move on to question number 9. As we move along, if you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section whilst I read and explain things to you for you to get it much more better. So let's move on to question number 9. Yes. 0.85 is 25% of what sum? So we are just interested in the number. 0.85 is 25% of what sum? So it's similar to the first one that there's the 8th question that we solved. So we want to actually, the 8th one was the percentage application on 40, but here they're asking us of what number did we apply 25% on, that we were getting what? 0.85. So the same principle. So we will say that 0.85 should be equal to 25%. For the unknown value should be what? X. Okay. So let me bring it here. So we'll say that here, all that I will do is to divide both sides by what? 25. So let me bring it here so that we take it on. So 0.85 should be equal to 25% of X. So here I divide both sides by 25%. I divide both sides by 25%. And what are we getting as what? As X. So here calculator will also help you much more better to perform this operation. So with my case, I had, when I divided 0.85 by 25%, I had X to be equivalent to 60%. We can also confirm as well. Let's see if that, 60%, 3.4 rather, 3.4. So I was getting what? 3.4. That's what I was getting for what? X. So meaning that 25%, 0.85 was actually 25% application on what? 3.4. 0.85 was actually 25% application on 3.4. So let's take note of that. Let's take note of that. Now let's move on to question number 10. Follow the same rule. 36 is what percentage of 30? 36 is what percentage of 30? So straight up here, we are dealing with the percentage, we are dealing with the issue about the number and then the result. Actually, that's how it's actually taken on. So let's look at it from that angle. So 36 is what percent of 30? So we are looking at the percentage. So that one to the same thing. We have 36. That should be equal to, so we don't know the percent. You represent by what? Certain what? Variable, say variable x. So that should be called x percent, okay, on 30. So let's continue. So here we know that x percent can also be converted to a percentage. So that becomes, so 36 should be equal to x over what? 100 multiplying what? 30. Similar to the, I think that was similar to question number 8 also. Yes, same approach. So here we have 36 multiplying what? 100, and that should be equal to 30x, sorry, 30x multiplying what? 1. So here we divide both sides by 30. We divide both sides by 30. And what are we getting as x? Let me bring in that here. So we have x to be equal to, so 36 multiplying 100, we are getting what? 3,600. So divided by 30, I had my answer to be equal to 120. And remember, 120 should be what in percentage. So 120 what percent? 120%. And that's going to give us option what? C. Option C. So let's take note of that. Let's take note of that. Let's go on to question number 11. So these are actually the basics of what? Mathematics that we're going to actually learn to apply in business related situations. So once you get these principles right, or once you get these basics right, it becomes so easy for us to actually move on in that line. So let's take note of that. Let's move on to question number 11. 6 is 15% of what number? 6 is 15% of what number? So you see the same rule. So actually, if you have gotten all that we have gone through, you see it becomes so simple for us to appreciate what we are actually doing. So 6 as a result of certain numbers is equal to 15% of unknown value we don't know. So let's say unknown value should be x. Okay. So here straight up, we want to find x. So we divide both sides by what? 15%. We divide both sides by 15%. Right? So once we do that, what are we getting? What are we getting? What are we getting? So with my calculator, when I divided 6 by 15%, I had x to be equal to what? 40. So meaning that for us to get a result of 6 was as a result of 15% on 40. That was unknown. That was unknown. That was unknown. So let's take note of that. Let's take note of that. If you have any question, can drop it in the comment section whilst I read and then explain things to you much more better. Let's go on to question number 12. The population of Snowtown, yes, was 4,500 in 1990. In 1994, it has decreased to 3,600. Find the percentage decrease in population during those 4 years. So realize that in the year 1990, the population was what? 4,500. But in the year 1994, it has decreased or dropped to what? 3,600. What would actually accounted for this? What would actually accounted for this? Probably people were sick and then they died drastically. That can be, I mean, a reason, right? They couldn't be able to survive, right? So, or other conditions that led the people to what? Death. So these are some of the things that we actually, so statisticians will also want to understand the percentage that has decreased so that in the near future they can use that information to advise or educate what the public concerned about their health, concerned about the things that they do. So these are the reasons why we need to understand this. So no matter where you find yourself in line or in business, you will make decisions actually that involve what? Numbers. That's why we need to understand these principles, right? To help us to actually build ourselves. So let's see. It says that find the percentage decrease in population during those 4 years. So how do we go by this? So to find the percentage decrease, we have a formula. Percentage decrease or percentage change in population, it should be equal to the population in 1990 that was there in 1990 minus the population in 1994, all right, and then divided by the population in 1990 multiplied by what? 100. This actually will account for the change or the decrease in 1990 to what? 1994. I believe that is so. That's actually the change in the population in terms of percentage. So once you get this formula right, then we can say that in 1990 our population was what? 4,500, right? Minus what was in 1994? It dropped towards 3,600 divided by the initial population in 1990, and that was what? 4,500 multiplying what? 100. Multiplying 100. Don't add percentage. Say multiplying 100. After that, you add percentage to it. After the final answer, you add the percentage to it. So when you take the difference between the two, you should be able to arrive at, let me have that here, 900 out of what? 4,500, and then multiply by what? 100. So what are we getting at the end of the day? With your calculator, you should be able to arrive at a percentage change of what? 20%. 20%. So I had 20%. You can also confirm so that you see if that is actually correct. So 20% is actually what I had. So meaning that from 1990 to 1994, the population has actually decreased by 20%. By 20% within that 4 years. So let's take note. So that's going to be option what? D. That's going to be option D. So let's take note of that. Let's talk about question 13. You receive a grade of 75% on a test of 60 questions. You receive a grade of 75% on a test of 60 questions. How many questions did you answer correctly? How many questions did you answer correctly? So meaning that you receive a grade of 75, that's actually the percent that you receive as a mark after going through a test of 60 questions. So the question is actually, or the requirement is actually asking you that how many questions did you answer correctly? So how do you go by this? So you know that the 60 questions actually will amount to what? 100%, right? And what is happening here? You had a mark of what? 75% as the correct mark for answering 60 questions, right? And we know that the 60 questions is actually equivalent to what? 100%. So how do you get the number of questions that you answer correctly based on the percentage that you score? So very simple to go. You tell us that if 100% of all the question is called 60, what will be 75%? So here, if less, more will divide. That's what the principle we are actually using here. So straight out, it becomes what? 75 out of 100, and then multiplying what? 60. So with the help of a calculator, you should be able to get a total of, that is question 13, a total of what? 45 questions. So meaning that you answer 45 questions what? Correct. You answer 45 questions what? Correctly. So that's going to be question what? 45. So sorry, question. You answer 45 questions were correct. That's what I mean for that. And I mean that you actually answered wrongly 15 questions. And we answered 15 questions wrongly. So that is actually the whole thing we want you to understand. Now, question 14. Sandra's monthly salary is $3,200. If a deduction for taxes from her monthly paycheck is $800, what percentage of her salary goes to this what? Deduction? What percentage of salary goes to this what? Deduction? So Sandra actually received what? 3,200 as a monthly salary, and then at the end of the day, he paid a monthly tax of what? 800 what? Dollars. And the question is asking us that what percentage of her salary goes into this what? Deduction? So we want to find the percentage rate actually that goes into this deduction as well, tax, right? So how do you go by this? Very simple. We know that the tax that you paid is what? 800. So you tell us that the percentage deduction the percentage deduction should be equal to the $800 as tax that you paid divided by the total salary that you received, which is 2,300, and then multiply by what? 100. That is all. That is what you need to do here. Very simple. Take the amount that you pay as for tax divided by the total salary you received, and then multiply by what? 100, and we are good to what? Go. So let's take note of that. So how much are we getting for the video calculator? Well, in my case, I had 25%. So you can also cross check for us to see if that is true. And that's going to give us option what? A. That's going to give us option A. So let's take note of that. Let's go back question 15. Question 15. Question 15. Question 15. The cost of an article, including coming. The cost of an article, including 15% for taxes, is $138. What is the cost of the article without taxes? What is the cost of the article without? So we have the total cost of an article to comprises of the cost price of the article itself. So the cost price of the article itself, right? Plus the tax that you pay on the article, plus what? Taxes. And then we know that the total cost was given as what? 138. And you're saying that the taxes that you pay on the article is for 15%, right? So meaning that for us to get the cost of the article, we should actually have equivalent of the 138, which is equal to what? 100%, because the total cost actually of 138 for the article, which include the taxes, should be equivalent to what? 100 what? Percent. So if you have a tax of 15%, meaning that the actual cost of the article in terms of equivalent of percent, you're going to fetch us what? 85%. So we're going to have here to be, say, 138 multiplying what? 15% as the tax itself. And then when you subtract 15 from 100, we are getting what? 85. So meaning that we have 138 by what? 85%. Because when you add 85 plus 15, you are getting what? 100%. And that should be equivalent to the total what? Cost of what? The article. So since we are interested in the cost of the article without any taxes, we applied 85% on 138, and the result should be the cost of the article. And I believe that is perfectly explained. So when I applied 85% on 138, I had a total figure of, so that's going to be 138 multiplying 85%. I had a total of what? 117. You can also confirm for me, that is question number 15. 117 point what? 30. 117.30 what? Dollars. So this is actually the cost of the article without what? Taxes. The cost of the article without a tax. So let's take note of that. Let's take note of that. Let's move on to question number 16. Assuming the question I've asked you to find what? The monetary value for the tax, that should have been 15% on 138, and then you are good to what? Go. All right. So I hope that is clear. All right. 16. The average of the following groups of numbers, we have 43, 29, 51, 36, 33, 42, and 32 is. So they are asking us to find the average of the following what? Numbers. And how do you find the average of the following numbers? So to find the average, we say mean, that is x bar, should be equal to the summation of what? The numbers involved divided by the total what? Number. So let's sum up these numbers. So that's going to be what? 43 plus what? 29 plus 51 plus 36, okay, plus 33 plus 42 plus what? 32, right? And then divide all by total. So let's see the number of the that involved in these numbers. So we have 43, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have what? 7, right? So let's add 43 plus 29 plus 51 plus 36 plus 33 plus 42 plus 32. What are we getting? But in my case, I had a total of 266 as the total summation of the numbers, and then divided by 7. So when I divided by 7, I had what? 38. So 38 actually become what? The mean or the average of the following what? Numbers. We want to understand or text our divisional approach when it comes to what? Numbers. So actually what we are doing, you can clearly see the pattern that we want to understand the basis of mathematics, the operations for mathematics, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and what? Division. These are the things we want to actually understand from this base. So let's get it right and then let's take note of that. Question 17. Brian had marks of 80, 94, 70, 68, and 83 on 5 texts. His average score is between, so now we know the marks that Brian actually had on these 5 texts. And then it has been given here. So the question is asking us his average score is between. So for us to know the range within which his average score falls, we need to find the average for these marks. Is that okay? So let's see. So that also becomes what? X bar, and that should be equal to 80 plus what? 94 plus what? 68 plus what? 80, 94. Okay, we have 70. So let me bring it here. Remember, additions are commutative. If I add 70 plus 60, it's the same thing as 60 plus 70. So don't be bothered about the position of the numbers. It's actually the same, plus 83, right? And then divide all by how many numbers you have here? 5. So when you add all the numbers, you should be able to get a figure of what? 395, and then divide all by what? 5. With my case, I had 79. So 79, meaning that the average for prime marks of 5 texts will fall between what? 75 and 80, right? But that's how it's going to fall, because you have 79, which is within the range of what? 75 and then 80. So let's take note of that. Let's take note of that. So that's going to option what? C. Option C. Now we are going to just 20 questions and then we'll be done and then we'll leave here. Question number 18. 6.42 multiplying what? 6.42 multiplying 10 to the power of what? 4. It's equivalent to what? It's equivalent to what number? So here is a matter of what? Your calculator, right? That's the same question that you can use calculator to get it right away and then move on straight up without any delays. So here we have 6.42 multiplying what? 10 to the power of 4 can also be written as what? 6.42 multiplying what? So how many groups of 10 do you have here? 4. So multiply what? 1. So more like this, multiplying 10, multiplying 10, multiplying 10, multiplying what? 10. With our law of indices, if you have the base to be equal, we just add what? The exponent. That is why we were getting what? 10 to the power of what? 4. So 6.4 to multiplying 10 in the groups of what? 4. And when you do that with your calculator, you should be able to get what? 64,200. Somebody can confirm for me so that we see if that is actually true. With my case, I had 64,200, and that goes for option what? A. That goes for option A. That goes for option A. That goes for option A. If you're enjoying values or if you're getting values out of these videos, please do want to like the video. And today is your first time on this channel, please do want to subscribe to the channel so that we grow this channel together with you. Now let's move on to question number 19. If you have any question as well, you can drop it in the comment section and I'll be grateful to read and then explain things to you out. Question number 19 is saying that 1 over 4 plus 5 over 8 plus 7 over 10. You are asked to find the summation of these fractions, right? So what are we going to do? So first thing is that you want to find what? The least common multiple, or the lowest common multiple. So you want to find LCM. So 1 over 4 plus 5 over 8 plus 7 over what? 10. So you find the LCM. What is LCM for 4, 8, and 10? You should be able to get an LCM of 40. That's what I had in my case. So now 4 goes into 40 how many times? 10, right? So 10 multiplying 1, we are getting 10. 8 goes into 40 how many times? 5. 5 multiplying 5, we are getting what? 25. Now 10 goes to 40 how many times? 4. 4 multiplying 7, we are getting what? 28. So at the end of the day, when you add 10 plus 25 plus 28, you should be able to arrive at 63 out of what? 40. And what are we getting here? Since we are not seeing any mixed fraction as part of the possible option, we will think about what? Converting this into what? a decimal. So 63 out of 40. With my case, I had a figure of 1.575. 1.575. And that's for option what? D. That is for option D. That is for option D. That is for option D. All right. Question number 20. We are asked to simplify this. 3 whole number 1 out of 2 plus 4 whole number 3 out of 4 plus 5 whole number 3 out of 10. So actually we want to understand how we deal with what? Mixed fraction. How we deal with mixed fraction. So how do you go by this? First of all, you must express all these mixed fraction to an improper fraction. So 3 whole number 1 out of 2 can be expressed in improper fraction as. So 2 will multiply the 3 and add 1 to the 2 will multiply the 3 and add 1 to the result. So that becomes what? 3 multiplying 2 plus 1 and then divided by what? 2. You do same for the next what? Value, which is what? 4 multiplying 4 plus what? 3 and then divided by what? 4 plus 10 will multiplying what? 5, right? That's 5 multiplying 10 plus 3 and then divided by what? 10, right? So at the end of the day, 3 multiplying 2, you are getting what? 6. So 6 plus 1, you're getting 7 out of 2. And yet we are getting 19 out of 4. And yet we are getting what? 53 out of 10. Right? So once you're able to express that, then the next step is to find what? The common denominator. That is to find the lowest common multiple that exists between 2, 4, and then 10. So with LCM, you should be able to arrive at what? 20. That's the lowest common multiple that I had for my case. You can also confirm if that is true. Yes, it's 20. So 2 goes into 20 how many times? 10. 10 multiplying 7, you are getting 70. Okay? Plus 4 goes into 20 how many times? 5. 5 multiplying 19. I had, with my case, let me see. I had 95. Someone can also confirm for me if that is true. And then 10 goes in 20 how many times? 2. 2 multiplying 53. You should be able to get 106. So when you add all, you should be able to arrive at what? 271, all right? Divided by what? 20. And since this is an improper fraction, we need to convert to what? A mixed fraction. So with my mixed fraction, I had 13 whole number, 11 out of what? 20. I had 13 whole number, 11 out of 20. So that is what I had, and that's going to be option what? Option B. 13 whole number, 11 out of 20 in that case. Okay, I see a comment here. Solomon Adabri saying that I'm enjoying it. Okay, that is great. Thanks for joining us today. So if you really join us, please do all to like and share our videos and subscribe to the channel as well. And then we get it on. I hope you enjoyed values or you get values out of these videos. So actually, that is what we want you to understand when it comes to the basics of what? Business mathematics that we want to understand so that we use to deal with what? Other problems that we may encounter in the future. So if there's no any other question that actually I can respond on, then I'll be glad to draw the curtains here for today, and we'll continue as and when we come live or come your way with these helpful tutorials to help you to actually build up your fundamentals. So thank you for joining us today. And then if this is your first time on this channel, please do well to subscribe to the channel and share with us. So I'll see you next time. Throughout the week, we'll be having live sections. So please do well to visit the channel as well so that we get more. So catch you up next time on this channel. Bye-bye.